let me ask you this: as far as the people trying to recover from bad credit, if they're overwhelmed with credit card debt, what are some options? Can they call to negotiate a settlement? Can they call and negotiate better rate? Obviously, bankruptcy. But like if you're just in a situation where you can't get it paid down, what are some options for people?
So when it comes to credit cards, if you just can't pay it down, well, number one, you have to make sure that you stop using like the cards. Stop, buying things so that you can manage it properly. Number two, it's so tough right now because we're in a time where credit card interest rates are the highest that they've ever been ever. So a lot of people with credit card debt is just mounting. It's just growing every single month. So the best thing you can do at this point, if it's just like out of your control and you do not foresee yourself being able to pay that credit card down within the next 90 days, the best thing to do is honestly to close that card right now so that you can then work on a payment plan. Now, don't close it and then forget about it and not contact your bank. No, close it, but have a plan to work out either a settlement with the bank or an agreement to pay it back. If you close it and do nothing, then it'll probably end up a charge off within 30 or within 60 days. But closing it so that you can stop the charges temporarily, stop the interest a little bit, and work on paying it back. You can. I would say you can, of course, get another credit card. You can transfer that balance, but most likely, if you are in credit card debt, you probably don't even have the borrowing power to get another credit card to transfer the balance to a lower interest rate card. So yeah, you can settle with banks, and now a lot of banks are and tax time is coming up. So banks settle tremendously during tax time, like they bank on that time. So now's the time to try to come up with a conclusion on how you're going to settle your balances. And rectify it, like your habits. But yeah, you can settle, but you got to know that you will have to pay it.
Yeah, I actually went through that as well. Reached out to a bank. It was, I think at one point I was late or something. Maybe I think I had utilized the credit card to the max, and I was late, and they raised the interest rates from like 19%. This was like my college credit card. It went up to 29%. Then it became just ridiculous. I looked at the payoff date. It was like, it seems crazy now, but it was 2035, and this is like the year 2000. I'm like,
all right. House.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way this is gonna happen. Yeah. So then I called, and they consolidated it down to a point where I had to pay it off. But I just had to make sure I paid 6 consecutive payments or 7, something at the same.
Yeah, usually
amount.
It's like 6 to 9 months.
Yeah. So when it comes to things like that, when we're trying to pay off debt, because there's been different strategies, and I wondered if you have one, right? Do I pay the card that has the highest usage, or do I pay the one that has the least usage, so I pay that off and then I work my way, like the snowball effect? Like, what's your thoughts around that?
So that's a great question. I do like the snow. So if your goal is to just get rid of your credit card debt and you don't really care to raise your credit score at this time, if you're not trying to use your credit, then the snowball effect is probably the most effective. Get the credit card with the highest interest rate, pay it down, and then work your way down, right? However, if you are still trying to use your credit and want to grow your credit while you are paying down your utilization, then I personally recommend look at any card that has a utilization over 48%. Tackle those first. If you can get all of your cards under 48%, then you don't have what's called the max out penalty on your credit score, meaning when you apply for credit, it's not showing that you have a card that's maxed out, right? People think maxed out is 100%. After 48%, banks are looking at you like you have a maxed out card. So get all of your cards over 48%, under 48%. Then the next tier that you should aim for is under 30%. So once you get all the cards under 45%, work to get them under 30%, and then you just work your way down if you care about your credit score.
What's the penalty at 48? Is it points?
Points for sure. Okay. So basically, depending on how many cards, any cards that you have over 48%, and depending on the score that they're looking at, I'll say homes. I'll use the mortgage scoring. Every card over 48%, you're going to you basically should minus 15 points per card from your score, and also if you have cards that are or 30% to 45 or 30% to 47%, you pretty much need to subtract about 10 points per card, right? Mortgage points. So So yeah, the 48% when it comes to credit cards, is showing that you're maxed out, right? So get all of your cards under 48%, then get them under 30%, and then, work your way down if you care about your score. But if you just are concerned with ridding yourself of credit card debt, as fast as you can or the cheapest that you can, then yeah, the snowball effect is probably the one that makes the most sense because the interest does continue to build, of course, on credit cards.
So, let's talk about business credit. What's the difference between personal credit and business credit as far as how it's looked at for your credit score and how you get it and stuff like that?
Yeah, so most business credit cards or loans are not solely it's not based on your personal credit score. It's based on like your business profile score. And so there is a way to build your business score, but it is different and separate from like your personal credit score. What I tell everyone, make sure, because I find a lot of people, especially in the industry, that will only care about their business score, but then like just don't care about their personal score, which to me, it's backwards. If you have a great credit score, personal credit score, then it also sets you up to have and build great business credit easier. Like, I have never had any of those net 30 accounts that people recommend. I don't deal with all of that, but I do have a lot of business credit extended to me simply by using my personal credit. People always say, like, you don't want to PG your personal credit. I personally do not subscribe to that theory. If I have great personal credit, you absolutely can. I can definitely vouch for my business credit with my personal credit because number one, lower interest. Like if you are just going solely off your business credit profile, you're gonna pay higher interest for pretty much everything. If you PG it, most of the cards that PG, it's lower interest.
PG, personal guarantee.
Personal guarantee, yeah. And so also establishing personal relationships with companies like we talked about American Express. That's you can get you have an American Express personal card. Now you can get an American Express business card. Mm-hmm. Same goes with Chase. Same goes with most of the big banks. So, I personally build business credit on the back of my personal credit, and that does not mean that they're reporting on my personal credit profile. Mm-hmm. It just means that when I applied for that account, they looked at my personal credit, and I have no problem with that because it. Good. Right.
So I wonder from that aspect, when they look at your personal profile and your business profile, do inquiries work the same? Because I know a lot of new businesses will apply for new credit cards. Yes. And so they look at the same, and how does that work? Are they negative? Are they derogatory if you have a certain amount within a year?
So are you referring to like if you do PG it and they do run your personal credit and it's for a business account, are you saying does those affect?
Well, I know if I apply for like 5 credit cards, which I wouldn't, but
business
if I did,
or personal?
Personal first.
Okay.
Right. So if they would look at as too many inquiries within a certain amount of time.
Right.
If I have a business and I'm applying for credit cards, do those inquiries, is it looked at the same?
No, it isn't looked at the same when it comes to business because most of the times like the funding requirements are different. Okay. And but however, when it comes to your personal credit card increase way more than installment increase. So if you're applying for a car, you can apply, like if you go to a car lot, they'll run your credit like 20 times for most people if you don't come already with your financing. Those are not counted individually. A lot of people freak out when that happens, but if you're applying for installments loans within a 14-day time frame, there is something that's called deduplication, which all increase of the same manner will be basically you're only going to be affected at the weight of one. You'll see all of them on your credit profile, but they're not all individually impacting you. Now, when it comes to credit cards, they're the worst type of increase because every single credit card increase does impact you the same. But here's the thing. Increase are only worth up to 55 points. So I tell people all the time, people worry about increase more than they worry about payment history, credit utilization, credit age. And it's just like, you should not be trying to save or protect your credit increase more than you are building credit. Like, because a lot of people will not build credit because they're scared of increase. And it's just like, so you're going to, you care more about 10% of your credit profile than collectively 75% of your profile. That doesn't make sense. When you're building credit, you're going to get increase. I don't care about increase ever. Because if you have a great credit profile, they will never affect you. There has never in the history of ever was someone denied solely for increase. And people convince themselves that the increase is what caused the denial. Like, no, you were denied because you have a late payment or X, Y, and Z. A bank is not going to deny you solely because of an increase if your credit profile qualifies for the card or account, they would be crazy. A bank wants you to, of course, borrow the money from them. And if you are denied for an inquiry, you can always get a reconsideration.